What's up, Interesting Enough family? Nolan here, and I just wanted to take a moment to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for tuning into us every single week as we give you the best content possible. However, I do have to ask you for one more thing. Come be a part of our family, and not just the Interesting Enough family, the Anchor family, and record a podcast yourself. It's so easy to do. Let me explain. First off, it's completely free. They have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your computer or phone. As a matter of fact, I'm doing it right now. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard from Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. That's right. Real money. Real money. It's everything you need to make a podcast, and it's all in one place. All you got to do is just download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
All right, Nolan. So I think I was surfing Reddit last week, and I saw a pretty interesting question. And what it was saying was, we just started 2021, and what album from your favorite artist or any artist of that matter are you most looking forward to in 2021? That doesn't mean they have to be releasing the album that you know of, but if they are to release one, which artist would it be? Is it J. Cole, is it Kendrick Lamar, or is it some other artist that I just don't know of?
Honestly, man, I haven't been as tapped in as I should, at least to start the year, but obviously J. Cole, he's my favorite artist, so I'm always looking forward to him dropping something, and I think he does it, but probably every 2 years it looks like, so I'm most excited, I would say, for his, for sure. I'm looking for Kendrick. I'm looking for Drake, those hip-hop guys. I'm looking for some R&B to make a comeback. I think R&B is making a comeback now. Some of the artists, I think Brent Faiyaz, some of those guys have been checking out. So those are some of the names I keep an eye on for. Usually, I don't know about you, but usually for me, I'm not really checking for a lot of people. But some of those names that I named, those are the people I'm actually checking for. As soon as they drop, I go try to listen. But I'm just like anybody else. I'll, get on my Apple Music, Spotify, or wherever, and just see the popular page. And I'll try to broaden my horizons in 2021. Some artists that I haven't really listened to and see what's going on. But how you feeling about it? Who you looking forward to?
I guess I'm gonna answer this question like this. It's not my favorite artist, but I'm kind of interested to see if Chance the Rapper drops anything new. I know we had this discussion off air before,
don't
but
do this. Oh,
I'm just
don't
saying
do this.
His
Don't
last
do
album.
this.
I'm not going to delve deep into it.
No, don't be concerned. Say what you're gonna say. I know what you're gonna say.
It's late, so I'm not going to spaz out. Chance the Rapper's last album to me just sucked. It had one good song, "We Go High," and that was it.
That's the song. That's the song of all the songs on there that you like. Oh, that's the one. If there was one song you chose,
I'm not even saying that's the one. That's the one that's tolerable, tolerable.
So you just didn't like that album?
No, I did not like that album at all. If that would have been his first album ever, I would have never listened to him again.
Okay, so here's my thing about it. I think that album gets a bad rap. However, I will say that it is an album that after the first listen, I was with you. I was like, yeah, I'm not really the one. And I'm not, he's not my favorite artist or whatever, but he's one of the artists I like and like to listen to. And it was kind of a disappointment at first after some of the last two projects he's dropped has been really good. So,
yeah.
But it's one of those, you got to give it a second or third listen. I will turn it to the listeners here, soon and kind of get their reaction. But I know it's been a while. It's got to be it's got to be over a year. Yeah, it's got to be over a year.
Yeah, it's got to be over a year.
Easily over a year at this point, right? So at this point, I would bet you haven't listened to it but the one time you listened to it when it first came out.
Yeah, probably.
Right or wrong?
I'll probably listen to some songs on shuffle again, when you're on Apple Music.
Okay, yeah, but as far as the album, every song, listen straight through, you just did it the one time, and you was
I did it the one time. It wasn't really good. So I just wasn't interested in hearing it again.
Okay, so listen, you got more homework. You got The Wire, you got Sopranos, and now you got to go listen to the album again. And I'm telling you, I guarantee you'll come back. I guarantee you'll come back and you'll at least pick. You'll come back with at least 2 or 3 songs. At least
I'm
2 or
on
3
Google
songs.
right now, and it says 47% of the people like this album.
Well, I mean, it's
the rating on Google is a 2.6 out of 5.
I mean, we can't base our life off the internet, Trey.
No. But I'm just saying, I think consensus is that album was pretty hot trash.
I don't agree.
Pitchfork gave it a 6.9 out of 10. I think that's being really generous. I gave it like a 5.
So, is there any chance you're gonna go back and at least listen to a few songs? I mean, at least listen to it one time through and
no,
come back
I
at least.
No, I can't make it.
It's not that bad.
It is like I mean, I guess the topic I kind of got bored out of it. I know you're in love. I'm happy for you, Chance. You know, you settled down, you had a kid, you got married.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, that's good on one song. 2, okay. 3, you're pushing it.
So he kept me happy throughout that album.
Bro, the album was 22 songs. First of all, it was just too long to begin with. 22
I agree.
songs.
That's a little long. I agree. That's a little long.
Like you acting like you Tupac, you were releasing a double album. Like, you know,
okay, here we go. So I know you like Kendrick Lamar. I know you like J. Cole. If they drop a 22 song album, now what? Still too long?
Yeah, it's still too long. But what I would say is, at least out of that 22 song album, I know 11 to 12 of those songs are going to be really good. So at least half to a majority of that album is going to be really good.
Okay, so what about
the rap?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like the majority of it was bad. Like I say, he had like 1 good song, maybe 2.
So what about Kendrick Lamar hasn't dropped the album since who knows when at this point, right? I mean, it's been forever. So if he drops a 22 song album, shouldn't it be all right? Because we would at least be like, well, hey, you know, he hasn't dropped anything in forever, so 22 songs is a nice sample size. Because doesn't the time matter? Like the time that's elapsed since your last project, or does it just 22 songs, just hard attention span, it's kind of whatever?
It matters, but to me, I kind of get worried when artists sit there and try to drop a like 22 song album, because to me that's kind of like, oh, some of this is going to be filler, some of these are going to be like skits, and then some of these are going to be like popular songs just for the club, and then, you know, songs that actually made the album a great album. I get kind of worried if it's like a 10 song album, that means the whole album's pretty much going to be good. Like there is no filler, there is no skits, there's no really, I should say, club bangs. It's just going to be a good album, period. Like Drake, he's probably the most popular artist in the world, at least hip hop artist. That last album he did was like 20 songs, and it was just too long.
Yeah, but I would even say, well,
have you ever heard a great double, like a great album that was like 20 songs long? Think about that.
Isn't the Michael Jackson Thriller, is that a double, or is that?
Let me see.
If I remember correctly, why are you looking that up? Because I feel like that's a long album that's actually good. I thought the Scorpion, why you also looking that up as well? I thought the Scorpion, the Drake album, and this is getting, you know, off on a tangent, but I thought that album was pretty good too, even though.
No, Thriller's just 9 songs, see?
Okay, so I thought he had a double. Okay. Well,
I know Tupac had a double with All Eyes on Me, but like only half of the album was really,
to be fair too. It's just hard to, I get that. It's really hard to, and I don't think Life After Death, none of the Biggie stuff. Yeah, so I mean, we have to get back to that to actually see. I guess that'll be interesting to take a look at. But I'm gonna come back next time with some double albums and I'll write that down. Some double albums that'll come back, that we'll come back to. That will actually be good. And you gotta do some homework, man. You gotta watch these shows. You gotta at least give it a second chance, man. Give that, no pun intended. You gotta give that album a second chance.
Oh, but man, it does hold a lot. Yeah, you get to come back, but I will give you credit. It does say Life After Death was 24 songs.
Yeah, because I figured some of those older artists, I figured they might have to. But I mean, I wouldn't even say all of those are definitely good.
Yeah, I mean, it's like All Eyes on Me. Like,
yeah,
same thing.
You get half of those that are like, yo, those are like bangers, and those are, you know what I'm saying? And there's some other good songs, and then you got a few like skipsies. Everybody's got some skipsies. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like those albums could have been like literally Illmatic status. And I'm gonna leave this topic alone after this, but I feel like they could have been Illmatic status
if they would have left those off.
Yeah, they just cut it down a little bit. Yeah.
That's just not. We're gonna take a deeper dive into this another time, but I kind of want to see like we'll take a look back. I know you're a Tupac guy. I like Tupac, but I'm more of a Biggie guy myself. But we'll take a look back and see, like, we got to go back and listen to some of the songs that we don't normally listen to off of those. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then kind of see from there. But no, I mean, I definitely want to do that for sure. But yeah, man. Without further ado, let's get into it, man. I mean, we had the people waiting long enough. Want to welcome everyone into Interesting Enough. He's Trey Samuel. I'm Nolan Todd. Thank you guys for always tuning in and joining to us. I know it's been a while since we've given you a pod. We got so many things we want to get into. Obviously, we got Super Bowl Sunday coming up. We'll give you our predictions for those. We got some big Deshaun Watson news and in football. But of course, Trey, since the last time we spoke, a lot of things have happened in the NBA world. Most notably, your boy, James Harden, was traded from the Houston Rockets to the Brooklyn Nets. By now, he's not only been traded, but he's played a few games. We've got Kyrie Irving that was MIA. We don't know where he was. We still don't know where he even went. And he came back, and now they're playing well. And you guys are playing 40 minutes a night. Trey, I'm jumbling it up all together, man. What's your reaction to the trade, for one, and how do you think this team is going to stack up in the East, and can they really win it all, man? Can they challenge those Lakers?
Well, I thought the trade was something that both teams had to do. Houston Rockets, we obviously know James Harden didn't want to be there anymore. He started kind of throwing his teammates under the bus. He wasn't in shape coming into the season. He was going to clubs, partying without a mask. So he really didn't care. And he really put that organization in a tough spot. So they really needed to trade him, or they were going to start losing value. And for the Nets, I mean, they had to make that trade because at one point we didn't really know if Kyrie Irving was coming back. I mean, we're still not really quite sure why he left. He said he left for personal reasons, but upon his leaving, he really didn't even tell his head coach, Steve Nash, the first day or so why he left. Mm-hmm. He just said that he was leaving. So when you have things like that going on, I think that the Nets really felt like they had their head to a gun. They really had to make a trade, which, you know, they were thinking if Kyrie, for whatever reason, isn't able to come back, can we still be a contender if we make this trade? And the short answer is yes. I think they're going to be the best team in the East, but are they championship caliber? I guess. There's no debating that they have a great offense. Just can they stop anybody? I mean, every time I turn around, they're in an overtime game, and both teams have 140 points. I mean,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to knock them. They have a great offense. They probably have one of the better offenses we've seen in the last 10 years, but they just can't stop anybody. I don't know if that's going to be a problem because at the end of the day, you know, the number one goal is to put the ball in the basket. That's how you win the games. Whoever does that the most. So, you know, they can do that, but you do have to be able to play a little bit of defense. I don't know if you've seen any concerns within this trade yourself for either the Houston Rockets or the Brooklyn Nets. Anything about this trade concerning you so far?
Well, I do think actually, I was going to get into this one angle later, but I'll do it now. I just want to say one thing in terms of these superstars getting traded. I don't know if this is necessarily a conversation right now, but I don't think this is obviously the greatest thing for the league because we have these superstars that are kind of acting out of character to kind of get out of those situations. And then what's going to basically happen is we're going to have this short-term memory of how James Harden how he was acting for the last month and a half of the beginning of the season. And we're going to, and he basically he didn't erase it, but in our heads, our perception, all the great years he's put in Houston and he's been great to the community, this and that. I mean, it looked really bad for that month or so before he got traded. He finally got traded, and then we're going to forget about it again. And we saw this happen with Anthony Davis too. People tend to forget. It was an ugly situation how he went out of New Orleans, and it wasn't just a situation where it was just all New Orleans' fault or anything like that. I mean, obviously they didn't put the team around him and things like that, but he was not a very happy camper, and he did make some comments, and it was kind of ugly on the way out. But guess what? Now he's in the Lakers. He's playing with LeBron James. He wins a championship, and guess what? Nobody cares anymore. And like that's the situation we have with superstars. So I think that's like an angle that's a little bit weird that we should look at going forward. So that's just something that interests me when all that situation was going on. But I knew James Harden couldn't be back after DeMarcus Cousins made those comments at the press conference. Basically saying that guys weren't buying in all the way, and John Wall echoed those statements as well. You knew he couldn't come back. So it's not ironic that he got traded literally the same day. That's not a coincidence, excuse me. So, but as far as the trade goes, yeah, I think I agree with everything you said. I mean, they're going to be talented offensively, especially having those three guys. I mean, honestly, Trey Davis was going to be talented offensively, whether Kyrie Irving was MIA or not. Let's just keep it honest.
Yeah,
you got those two guys, but I mean, having him is just lethal. But they're going to be so tough to guard. They're tough shot makers. And I do actually like something that's actually happened that I do like is, I know I'm sure you and I were probably both concerned with what's going to happen with James Harden in terms of, he's had the ball in his hands for so long, for so many years, controlling everything. Him kind of having him as the point guard is actually a great situation that it looks like, because he's probably the best passer of them three guys anyway. And Kyrie Irving, we know, is a black hole. He's, the second coming of Carmelo Anthony when it comes to not passing the basketball. So it's kind of cool to just have him as the off guard. And you see James Harden's shot attempts have gone down, the assists have gone up. So he's able to control the tempo and do those things, and that's kind of what one of his best traits are. So I think they can do that all the way to, at minimum, the conference finals in the East. But Philly's looking good. The Celtics are looking good. We'll see what my Heat do with guys coming back. But at least I'll say those two teams are now the teams to beat. And, Joel Embiid playing like MVP and those guys, I mean, they're going to be tough to beat. But I do think the ceiling for this team, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Trey. I know they don't have a lot of depth right now. I know Spencer Dinwiddie is out. But you've got to say this season is a disappointment if you don't get to the finals, right?
We're talking about the conference finals and NBA finals.
The NBA finals. If they don't get to the NBA finals, if you're them, this has got you gave up all the assets. I mean, again, Brooklyn with the trade again to give the assets. Like, we haven't done this thing already with the Kevin Garnett trade.
I think it's kind of disappointing, but I don't think it's the end all be all. I don't think it's like the Los Angeles Clippers were really under the barrel because they had the possibility of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George leaving after this year. I kind of feel like they can. If they don't make the finals this year, they're still open to make it next year or possibly the year after. I know James Harden is getting a little bit older, so is Kyrie Irving.
And the contracts.
Yeah. I mean, but James Harden still has 2 more years left, so I mean, it's not like.
But Kevin Durant's got the option, so he's on the 2-year with the. I mean, but okay, scenario: you go to the finals, you don't go to the finals. Let's just say they just get blasted in the conference finals. They don't. I mean, it's not a sweep, but they lose like 4-1, 4-2, whatever. I mean, it's kind of looking bleak, right? I mean, you got to at least open your eyes to certain things. And let's just say that some things don't work well, chemistry-wise, and just on the court with Kyrie Irving and who's taking late shots and things like that. I mean, but let's be honest here. The biggest prize is keeping Kevin Durant if you're Brooklyn, right?
At that point, if it gets bleak like that, you can always say this: they have 2 of the biggest trade chips in the NBA. I mean, I don't know how much Kyrie.
Come on, man. That value, don't nobody want that value right now.
Yeah,
we don't even know if he'll be playing tomorrow.
It can be touchy, but I mean, he can build it up. But James Harden is still a big trade chip. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, he's a big trade chip. But let's be honest here. You are not getting a better pairing than Kyrie Irving and James Harden in any trade, in any situation. Whatever you do, if you trade that's not getting better. Like, your team is just not getting better. Right? I mean, we can just call it what it is. Who are you going to trade for him? Even if you trade James Harden, you got Bradley Beal. You got worse. Let's keep it on.
You got worse player for player, but if you're talking about you got Bradley Beal and somebody else like Bertans, I'm just using an example.
That's not better. Okay, yeah, you're right. Using an example, but that's still not better than James Harden. Let's call it what it is.
It might be a better fit because Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Let's say, like, if we look at that team they had last year, and let's say they add Kawhi Leonard, but they don't have all the bench players that they did last year. I can't say that it would be better with Kawhi Leonard than they were last year without him. I think it's just a little bit of fit around the players around him as well.
Well, to be honest, I don't even think we're going to get to that point. I think that team is going to end up probably getting to the finals, to be honest. And I'd love to see a matchup with your boy.
I don't know if they get to the finals, though.
Braun.
I mean, we got a lot of time to debate about that, but I just don't know if they get to the finals because I think that Philadelphia team, I think they're really becoming serious contenders under Doc Rivers. I think Joel Embiid is playing great. I don't know who's going to guard him, who's going to stop him. And I think that every game Brooklyn plays, they're going to be in shootouts. And I think eventually that comes back to bite them. And it might be
in the playoffs. Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. I think Philly's probably the team to beat right now. But, Braun and them boys, they're rolling. And, by the way, I actually meant to bring this up to you. Since we're talking about your boy, let me just get on my rant real quick. I know I feel like I have a rant all the time. This is my rant. Like, okay, obviously I know I've been noted as the LeBron, I don't want to use the word hater, if you will, but I say the LeBron truth teller. I tell the truth about what LeBron really does and what's really going on. Look, LeBron, like I call out LeBron when he's with the bull, for lack of a better term. LeBron, yeah, we know you didn't read all the issues of The Godfather, watch all the movies. Like you can stop pretending. We know that. You want to go to the press conference, you know that. Okay, LeBron, why did your boy last night come here after the game and reporters ask him how they didn't play well off a back-to-back and lost to the Detroit Pistons with my boy Blake Griffin. By the way, free. I'm gonna be on this all year, Trey. Free Blake Griffin, free Kevin Love. Free them two guys. They need to go on contenders. Anyway, LeBron comes up here, and I don't even know if you saw this or not because we haven't discussed this. But he comes up here, and the reporter asks him, "Hey, you guys look kind of tired, this and that. Like, what's going on?" And he's on his Kevin Gates, Trey. I don't get tired mentally. I don't get tired, this and that. This is what annoys me about LeBron, Trey. Like. LeBron, like I understand you, LeBron James, you're the best player on the planet. You one of the greatest players to ever live. But like this thing where you acting like you're not here, like, oh, now you don't get tired, this and that. I don't get tired. I'm back to back. I don't know about everybody else, but I don't get tired. I'm mentally ready. This is why I do this and that. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, you don't get tired, LeBron. Okay, so I better not see you tired for the rest of the season. I better not see you tired in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. I better see you play all 48 minutes as you, Mr. I don't get tired, Trey. Is he Mr. I don't get tired? No, I'm sorry. Michael Jordan get tired, and he better than him.
What would Michael Jordan say in that situation?
Michael Jordan would say, "I'm a human. I get tired. And when I get my rest, I'm still gonna bust you behind." That's what Michael Jordan would say.
What would he say?
He would say, "I would get tired." He would say, "I would get tired, but when I get my rest, I'm gonna bust you behind."
Well, let me tell you something about this. Over here in LeBron land, we built different. Okay.
So LeBron he's on his Kevin. This is what annoys me about LeBron. Like I gotta let it go because I could be on this all day. Like. He just act like come on, man. Like, come on. Like, that was so unnecessary to have to even do that. I saw that this morning, man. I
think, man, I'm the biggest LeBron fan. He does come with a little bit of theatrics at times.
Yeah, I'm like come on, man. Like, what's up with that, man? I'm like, it's cool. Like, we let you live because you GOAT James, as people like to say, but no, my GOAT, but GOAT James. But yeah, okay, well, we'll see about that. But anyway, man, let's transition to some football. You know what I mean? A lot of things been happening in the NBA. We'll talk about some NBA as we get further along. Obviously we got the All-Star game voting open up. Some of our guys. We'll actually follow up with some of the people that we said were going to be some breakout stars, see if those have worked out. But right now I want to get some football because, Trey, I'm excited. I'm a Dolphins fan, and I'm excited. And you know why? Deshaun Watson wants out of Houston, the quarterback for the Houston Texans. Now, do we know why? No, the details are very sketchy. We don't know. We feel like we'll find out some details in the coming future as far as why specifically. But all I know is he wants out of Houston. All I know is I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. And he's one of the few teams that he's listed that is a possibility that not only do we have the assets to get him as far as trade value, but he may be interested in playing for us. Trey, what do you think about the Deshaun Watson news? And where do you think are some really good fits for him? And I'll even broaden up. Forget fits for him. Just based on assets. How about just, on paper, like, hey, I would like to see him play for this team?
I'm not really shocked by the news. Obviously, Deshaun Watson and the front office have been at odds over the recent months. A lot of it stemming from coaching decisions that the front office decided not to involve Deshaun Watson in. And Watson stating that the front office said they would involve him in it. So I'm not really surprised if that's the case because he can't trust him anymore. So he might as well look to move elsewhere. As far as where he fits, Watson fits in every team that doesn't have Patrick Mahomes, period.
I agree.
Even Aaron Rodgers, the guy that's 1-4 in the conference finals.
Don't do that.
I know. I'm just saying.
Don't do that. It's not his fault.
But I'm just saying he's not untouchable in this situation. Is it going to happen? No. Like, he's not going to Green Bay. But I'm just saying he's not untouchable. That's how good Watson is. Like, you can make a case at his best. He's the second best quarterback in the league. There's a case to be made. I'm not saying that it's bad, but there's a case to be made. He's young. Other than the ACL injury, which he does appear to have made a full recovery from. That was a couple of seasons ago. There's nothing to really be worried about. He doesn't have off-the-field issues. He doesn't have blown injury issues. He doesn't have bad teammate chemistry, with his teammates, whatever. They seem to all love him. I mean, J.J. Watt came up to him in the last game of the season and said, "I'm sorry for wasting one of your prime seasons." Like, there's nothing to say bad about the man. I think he could fit anywhere. I would love to see him possibly go to a team like the Steelers, someone that has a pretty decent offense and looks like they're a quarterback away from being something. But obviously, we know, if you know anything about the Steelers' history, they don't really make big trades happen or big free agency splashes, anything like that. They like to build from within. So I kind of don't see that happening. I know Deshaun Watson has stated recently that he would like to go to the Jets. Um, Not really sure on that one. I don't really agree with that one, I guess. I guess the best fit for him would probably be somewhere like the 49ers, though. If you can go and team up with Kyle Shanahan, someone who's known to get the best out of a quarterback. I mean, right now they're stuck with Jimmy Garoppolo, but they just did go to the Super Bowl last year. I mean, if you get in that system, he'll probably be the MVP within the next 2 to 3 years. I'll probably have a Super Bowl visit within the next 2 to 3 years. And I think that's the best case scenario you can ask for out of any team in the league.
I agree with that because that was going to be my pick. Now, obviously, I'm a Dolphins guy, so I would, be biased there. But I think on paper they're the best fit. But as far as assets, yeah, there's only about a few teams that have assets, to be honest, and no teams have more assets than the Jets or the Dolphins, right? So you got to think, I think we should also know as well, if for the listeners who don't know, Deshaun Watson does have a no trade clause. So essentially, how that works is, Deshaun Watson is going to have to sign off on any trade. So if there's a team that he doesn't want to go to, the trade just does not happen. That's kind of the way it is. So I'm sure Houston regrets doing that now. But I just want to take the Dolphins angle real quick. What I will say is I was torn initially, and I know we've talked about this before, giving up all these assets to get Deshaun Watson because, I mean, you're going to have to give up the mother load trade to get him. You know what I'm saying? Like all the picks, and, that kind of hurts you in terms of getting some weapons. But then I started thinking about it, man. How you going to win in the NFL? You got to have a good coach and a good quarterback, right? Right now, the Dolphins have a good coach and a coach that we think is going to be here for the future. Not only that, a good GM, right? So a good tandem together. Now you need the quarterback to pair it. And I know I'm a Tua guy, and I don't want to see Tua go anywhere, but I'm not going to act like Tua is Deshaun Watson. Like I just got to keep it what it is. And I know that there would be a chance you loosen a lot of assets in terms of now being able to get weapons around him, but I'm not even really sold on Devontae Smith for these guys anyway. And unless you're drafting a guy at number 3 overall, the way I view it is unless you're drafting a guy at number 3 overall and your number 18 pick, and one of them guys is going to end up being this, or together combined, they better be better than Deshaun Watson. And I don't see that happening because it's not even guaranteed picks are going to. I'm not doing the Danny Ainge Boston Celtics model. I'm not just gathering a bunch of picks just to have a bunch of picks. Like, I want actual players. And it don't get better than Deshaun Watson. Like you said, the only way this could get better is you just get Patrick Mahomes, right? So,
but isn't it kind of early to be hopping up the Tua bandwagon? I know he didn't have the greatest year, but I mean, he was in and out of the lineup. I mean, he was always being subbed in and out for Fitzpatrick. He didn't really have a proper off season. He came off an injury at Alabama, so he didn't even finish the end of his college career. Isn't it just kind of early to be jumping off of the Tua bandwagon?
Oh, so I'm not hopping up to a bandwagon. Tua is still my guy. Don't get it twisted. Tua is my guy. However, Trey, if you got a chance to get Deshaun Watson, I love Tua, man. And he's my guy. I mean, I really haven't loved the guy in South Florida in terms of any of my sports teams, and probably D-Wade, man. I'm telling you, that's how much I love Tua. That's my guy. And I think he's going to be a lot better than what he's shown. Okay? But if I'm betting on him becoming Deshaun Watson or getting Deshaun Watson who's already Deshaun Watson, I mean, I got to take that chance, man. We haven't had a quarterback like that since Marino, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to take that chance. You got to take that chance, like, because you can't go out here and regret it. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Dolphins do. I don't even know if they're going to do that, but, you know, it's going to be interesting. I think it's something you got to – at first I was like, hey, man, stay away from that. It's too many weapons. But I was like, man, this is Deshaun Watson. That's like saying, man, if you got a chance for almost getting Patrick Mahomes, you got to do – you know what I mean? You got to do it. If you got the assets, you got to do it. We'll worry about getting some weapons. Because you got to think, Deshaun Watson – and the Dolphins don't have terrible weapons, but, you know, they could definitely use a Jamar Chase or somebody big-time weapon. But we know the truth, Trey. he's going to elevate whatever you got and make that whoever you got that much better. You know what I mean? It's like if you have LeBron James, right? You give him all the assets to get LeBron James because look, he's gonna make Kyle Kuzma look a lot better than what Kyle Kuzma was supposed to be, and make Caldwell Pope and whoever else look that much better. Look, I mean, he took all them guys to a championship. Caruso, all them guys, they have my championship ring right now because of LeBron. So, I mean, what you want me to do? Like, them guys just make people better. Now, I know he's not LeBron James, but in the same respect. So,
and before we hop off the topic, let me ask you a deeper question on that though. And I know we said before we don't want to get too political, but just because it's out there, some of the reason that Deshaun Watson may be wanting to leave is because he just feels like, I'll put it this way, he's possibly been mishandled in the franchise. Do you think that has anything to do with him wanting to leave?
I do, and I'm glad you brought it up because, we hate to speculate, right? Because we don't actually know, but. Yeah, there's been some rumblings of some things going on, and here's what I can say. What I can't say is just stuff that's been reported on every news outlet, so it's not going to be breaking news to anyone. Deshaun Watson feels like you said he's been mistreated. He basically feels like the Houston Texans organization was going to go in one direction and was going to, ask his advice basically and seek his assistance on that. He feels like they just took his assistance and just went a different direction and didn't really consider it. So I do think a part of that, let's just be honest here. I mean, there's been other players come out with the Houston Texans organization and have had some critical things to say about, guys with some African-American players, things like that. Again, all speculation. We don't know. Maybe we'll find out details. Maybe we won't. Yeah. But what I would say is he likes the Jets. A part of the reason because of Robert Saleh, and it's not because African American or anything like that. It's not, but it's just because he just really likes that coach, and it was one of the guys he wanted to consider. We know Eric Bieniemy, the name we hear all the time on all the sports outlets, the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. He was a guy that reportedly Deshaun Watson was looking at as well. But I do think it's a benefit for the Dolphins. I don't know if it's going to matter for him, but they're the only team in the league with the black general manager or an African American general manager and an African American head coach. That may be something that matters to him. We don't know. I mean, I think I'd probably say most importantly is just being in a winning organization, right? But it all signs just point that Deshaun Watson just wants to get out of Houston. I mean, we've heard that it doesn't really – I'm not going to say it doesn't matter where he goes, but he's open to a lot of possibilities, just not Houston. So, honestly, with the Texans, it's very worrisome. And I should note on the last point there in terms of even making the trade for Houston or for the Dolphins, you've got to trade to a Tagovailoa. And, by the way, we don't even know if the Texas organization is even, thrilled to even look at a guy like that to be their franchise quarterback too. So, that's something to note as well. But yeah, you're hearing some rumblings. Yeah, it's going to get interesting.
Yeah, I mean, those are all valid points you made. And just to end that topic off, I do think that the Deshaun Watson saga kind of has brought to light that there's not a lot of minority leaders in the NFL or people in leadership positions, whether that be a head coach and a general manager. Of course, all owners and, minorities speaking African American, Hispanic, or any other ethnic group. It's just not a lot of those people in positions in the NFL. So I think it kind of brought that to light. Hopefully, we can see some change in the future. Mm-hmm. But I guess to move on to the next topic, I do want to ask you, though, Nolan. Coming up here soon, of course, we do have the big game, the biggest game of them all this year. The Super Bowl, and we have the possible GOAT, Tom Brady, versus maybe the upcoming GOAT, Patrick Mahomes, question mark. So let's just jump into it. Who do you have winning the Super Bowl this year?
Okay, so this is actually really easy for me. And it's not because I'm not a big Tom Brady fan and I'm a Dolphins guy, but I'm going with the Chiefs, man. I just think they're a better football team. And I think that it's funny that they've had to find different ways to win this year, and they've won ugly, they've won pretty, they've won close games, they've won blowouts, they've won, they've just won in all different types of ways. They've had to run the ball a lot, they've had to throw the ball a lot, So I think it's interesting. So it prepares them for all types of situations. And I think that as long as their guys are healthy, and I think, those 2 weeks for Patrick Mahomes with the concussion and the toe and a lot of things going on, those guys can get healthy. I just think that they don't match up well with them. And I know they played the Bucs earlier in the year, and it got ugly early, but the Bucs kept it close. I think it can get kind of ugly if they can get out the lead. But my only fear is though, and it has nothing to do with, I know Tampa's playing in their home stadium. It really has nothing to do with any of that stuff. If you keep the game close, as much as I do not like to say it, Brady just always seems to find a way, Trey. I don't know how. I really don't even have an explanation anymore. It just honestly doesn't make sense. It defies all logic. Forget the cliff, forget the whatever Max Kellerman likes to call. Like, I mean, all of that, like, he just finds a way. So if you keep it close, you can't let them hang around. So I think they got to put the nail in the coffin. But I think this is a change into the guard. I think this is Mahomes' time. I don't have a score prediction yet. I'll let you answer that first, and then maybe I'll come up with one. But I do think the Chiefs are going to get it and then repeat. And then I think this is kind of the passing of the guard. But if he also repeats, by the way, I also don't think Brady's retiring. But that's probably a different subject for a different day. But what do you think? And I mean, I don't know. We haven't talked to the conference championships. And I do want to talk about Aaron Rodgers real quick before we even get out of here, too. But let me know first what you're feeling about the Super Bowl.
I think it's going to be a close game. I would go something around the range 27-24. I think it's going to be kind of high scoring. Not too high scoring. You're not going to hit like in the 30s or 40s, but I think it's going to be like 27-24. I think it's going to be a defensive, front at the end of the game. They kind of keep the score kind of lower, I guess, or mid-range, I should say. I'm just going to go with the Buccaneers, and the reason I say that is just unequivocally Tom Brady. I think the Chiefs had the better team. I think they had a better offense. I think they probably had a better head coach. And quite frankly, I think they might even make an argument for having a better defense. And the defense really isn't all that. But I think, like you said, I just don't know how Tom Brady always finds a way to win these games at the end of the game. I don't know if it's just some kind of intangibles that we just can't measure, like leadership or poise. But if there's something there that always keeps him in the hunt in these games, and he always finds a way to win them, it seems like. So I'm just going to go with Tom Brady. I think Antonio Brown is going to he's going to be able to do something off of his leg injury. He has 2 weeks off. I think he's going to come back. Who knows? We might see a screen route again with Gronkowski, or maybe a trick play that gets him going.
Yeah.
Leonard Fournette, I think he can possibly, get going playing on Tampa. I guess I'm grasping at straws because at the end of the day, I know that Chiefs team is better. I know when we go down A through Z, when we go through those rosters, that team is better. When we talk about those coaches over there, I mean, we were talking about Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy. I think those two guys are probably better than Bruce Arians, just period. But I think that the Buccaneers have the greatest quarterback of all time, and maybe just arguably the greatest NFL player of all time. And I just think he's going to be the difference maker.
I mean, it's hard to go against that choice. I'm just going off of, pure talent perspective, and I think those guys are a little bit seasoned. I do think it's an X factor. I mean, there's a lot of things going on with the Chiefs in terms of they got some injuries. Obviously, their left tackle just went out too, and the Bucs can really get pressure. You know what I mean? Just with rushing force. So that's something to keep in mind. That's why I say if the Bucs can just keep it close, it really is in there. I would say it's in the Bucs' favor if the game is close. Not that I don't trust Mahomes, late in the games, but we just haven't really seen it, if we're just being honest. That's the one thing you really haven't seen from Patrick Mahomes. He doesn't really have to come from behind too often. Not that he can't.
He did it last year in the Super Bowl. I remember that.
Well, when I say behind, I should clarify, like 2-minute drive.
Oh, yeah, we don't really,
you know what I mean? Like, now he could put it out. They could put up points in a hurry. Like, they're not the team I'm worried about. Like, if Brady comes out and they just go out 14-0, I'm not worried. Like, if you've watched any football over the past 2 years, why would you even be worried? Like, there's nothing to worry about. Like, the 85 Bears could be playing defense. It's Patrick Mahomes. Like, and not worried about it. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. Like, we're not worried about it. But if the game stays close, and that's how Brady likes it. And you know what, Trey? I have a feeling this how the game's going to go, too. It's going to go like the Chiefs going to come out hot, play well. Brady's he's going to throw an early interception. You know how Brady does. Dinking and dunking. It's not going to look great. And then all of a sudden, third and fourth quarter rolls around. Now he starts hitting Gronkowski. Now he starts hitting Scotty Miller over the top. And then everything just starts rolling for Brady. It just comes together like that. So if you're the Chiefs, you got to put the nail in the coffin. Hopefully, I just feel like you got to win this game in a blowout. I know it sounds crazy, but if you're the Chiefs, a close game is not what you want with Brady, not with that guy on the other side, not with 12. And you see what, and we'll get to it in a second, but when you see what happens when you leave time on the clock for Brady, like the Packers and Matt LaFleur decided to do.
Go ahead and dive into that because I heard you say you wanted to dive into that. I'm just kind of curious where you're going to go with that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just the obvious here. Like, what do you? Because I have a feeling on, but what do you feel like? Everyone's the big decision was should they have went for it on 4th down? Aaron Rodgers should have thrown for it on 3rd down and given the ball back. What's your theory on what would you do if you'd coached the situation? Obviously, hindsight is 20/20, but in the moment watching the game, I was definitely like, "Yo, what's going on?" I don't know if you felt that.
I'm not going to give the ball back to Tom Brady because we already know how that ends. Like that was just a foregone conclusion.
Right.
But I have somebody who's maybe not quite as good as Tom Brady, but is still an equal in his own right. And I'm going to put the ball in his hands and let him decide my fate. So I would have went for it on 4th downs, gave Aaron Rodgers the ball, and let him decide the fate of that game. And if we win, we win. Congratulations. I'm happy. But if we lose, we lost. We did all we could do. What I will say, though, it was 2 errors compounded upon each other that made that situation worse. First of all, Aaron Rodgers should have took off on that 3rd down play. Even if he didn't want to fight again in the end zone, he could have slid down and got to maybe like the 2 to 3 yard line and it would have been closer. And
just inside the 5 is all I'm asking. Just give me inside the 5.
Yeah. I mean, you would have put the onus on the coach, and at that point, he would have been forced to basically go for it. But honestly, when you decided not to do that, and then you don't gain any yards, you kind of leave it up in the air a little bit. Still, the coach should have went for it, but I could at least I could understand his thinking was, we're on the 8 yard line, like 9 yard line. I don't really know if I want to go for it. Maybe, we still had time. If we started Buccaneers, I think they had like 2 timeouts left at that point after they kicked the field goal. Like maybe we could do something. It just didn't work out in their favor. I think it was kind of obvious that it wouldn't work out. But I also don't think the Green Bay was going to score there either.
On the 4th down?
I don't think they were. And my issue was Tom Brady at that point had 3 interceptions, and you couldn't get any points on the board at that point before then.
Yeah. I mean, that was tough. But I know what you're saying, though. It felt like on that drive, though, the drive that they went down, they didn't score when they just kicked when they kicked the field goal. It felt like Rodgers was kind of, and I don't really see Rodgers like that, kind of pressing in a way. Like, he kept forcing it to Devontae Adams. You know what I mean? And like double coverage. Like, I don't know if it was a 2nd down pass, the one that was like high in the back of the end zone. It was like, I don't know. I just feel like, and normally Rodgers just runs those. I don't know if he felt like, because the pressure hadn't been getting to him all day in terms of like just the pass rush. So I don't know if he felt like, sometimes you feel like a guy may be closer there than he actually is. I don't know if it was a situation like that too. It's a lot of things that, it's a split-second decision. So, but yeah, it was tough to see because, Trey, we all knew. As soon as we get a ball back, I was like, man, this is it. Like, this is it. And to be honest with you, I'm sad to see as a football fan, as much as the Brady Mahomes thing is cool, I would have rather seen Rodgers and Mahomes in the Super Bowl, personally, 2 high-scoring guys. Because, honestly, I got to be honest, man, and I hope I'm wrong here, but I think that's probably Rodgers' last chance.
Yeah.
I know I know they can reload next year and this and that, but, like, I mean, come on. You got to figure Russell Wilson, them guys coming back
Rodgers
eventually.
not getting any younger. I think he'll be like 38 next year.
He's going to be 38, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got some teams. I mean, Washington's a quarterback away, right? I mean, just on paper. You know what I'm saying? So, Kyler Murray, them guys coming. I mean, if Jared, they can get their Jared Goff stuff together with the Rams or get a quarterback, they're coming. I mean, it's not guaranteed. You know what I'm saying? Chicago, the Bears are quarterback.
They've been a
lot of teams in the
NFC
NFC just a quarterback. Yeah, and there's a lot of quarterbacks available this year. You get a Stafford, you draft for somebody, I don't know. I just, as a football fan, you like, man, you to only get that guy in one Super Bowl is kind of a shame. So I hope I'm wrong, but I'm just calling it like I see it, man. Like, this might be their last run, man. So, but hopefully I'm wrong. So we'll see how it goes going forward. But Trey, man, before we end here, we did have a few deaths go on that I did want to give us an opportunity to just kind of reflect on. First and foremost, we just passed the 1-year anniversary of Kobe Bryant passing away with his daughter Gigi, and of course many other members of her basketball team and their family. in the helicopter. Obviously, that started a whirlwind of a lot of things happening in 2020. And then, a legend, an icon, the home run king, or former king, Hank Aaron, also just passed away as well. So I just wanted to get the floor to you, man. If you had any thoughts or anything, to reflect on these legends.
Two sports legends, icons, but more importantly, they were able to transcend just sports and be, social pop icons, however you want to look at it. They were just American icons at this point. It's unfortunate, both of their passings. You won't be able to see those talents anymore. You won't be able to speak to them or see them on TV anymore. That's unfortunate, I think, for a lot of us. But, you just got to admire what they were able to do and what they were able to accomplish, on and off the field or on and off the court for both of them. And I really just, you have to admire some of those qualities they both had, tenacity. I know Hank Aaron, you always read on TV or read in a book, when he was going for that home run, to be the home run champion, beat Babe Ruth 7-14. He was getting a lot of death threats, and he was able to fight through it and accomplish something that was pretty amazing for a black man during that time. And of course, with Kobe Bryant, I think his accomplishments are a lot more fond in our memory because it's just more recent. But obviously, he was able to accomplish a lot in his short life. So. I just think it's just a time to reflect, be grateful for what we have, but also just acknowledge the good that people do and giving the flowers while they can smell them. What else do you want to add with that?
Yeah, man. I mean, I couldn't honestly say it any better. I would say, I'll start with Hank Aaron. I mean, he's such a legend, such an icon. I mean, especially, he didn't. Being a black man in that sport, even though the color barrier had been broken by Jackie Robinson, and African Americans have played. I mean, he plays such a big role, and to be that great, you know what I'm saying, and to take the home run, be the home run king for as long as he was. It was just such a great accomplishment to see, and he's such an icon. And not only that, for how he spoke up for, not only African American athletes but African Americans in general, and definitely made his voice heard. He doesn't ever a lot of times get enough of the credit like you hear from the Muhammad Alis and the Bill Russells, but he's just up there with them, man, for a lot of things he accomplished on and off the field. So, it's definitely going to be sad to see a legend gone too soon. And then Kobe Bryant, man, I mean, how much more can we say about him? I mean, this 1 year anniversary, I mean, it touched so many people. I mean, Kobe's death is going to be one of those. I know for sure. I know, and I'm sure, Trey, as well. Like, you kind of know the moment when you heard or when you found out. And it's just one of those things, man. He's such an icon, especially in our generation, going up, we're in our mid-20s. He's such an icon. He's our, how our parents talk about Michael Jordan. When we have kids, we're going to be talking about Kobe Bryant. You know what I'm saying? So he's such a legend. How he died is so tragic. But, we always don't want to just, I don't want to gloss over that, but, we want to it's a celebration of his life. So it's going to be somebody that we're going to be always celebrating. He's gone too soon, but, Kobe, we love you forever, man. And he's touched so many lives that he'll never know. But, it's on us to keep his legacy going. So that's the exciting part. We're excited to, his legacy is going to live through us and the people who watched him play and the people who met him and talked to him and those things like that. So, definitely didn't want to, end this pod without speaking on that. But we want to thank everybody once again for joining us. This is interesting enough, of course. Please, if you can, subscribe. Thank you for always listening to us. Leave us a review. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Interesting Enough Podcast. We thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll be back next week after the Super Bowl, Trey. We'll see who wins, and we'll have some big time reactions to that. All right.